All right, well, Sam Greene is the Director of Democratic Resilience at the Centre for European Policy Analysis, Professor at the King's College London Russia Institute, and author of Putin versus the People. He joins us now from Washington, D.C. As we heard there, Sam, Vladimir Putin said he was simply defending the right of Russia to exist. What did you make of this speech?
Well, look, I mean, Putin's speeches really are not designed to inform us, and this was not an exception, right? Putin does a number of things with his speeches. He uses them, in some ways to recruit, right? He gives people reasons to approve of what he's doing. The speech he gave people lots of reasons, right? Depending on your ideological perspective, if you're against American hegemony and colonialism and imperialism, he gave you that reason. If you're against, the proliferation of LGBTQ rights, he gave you that reason. If you're a Russian nationalist, he gave you those reasons as well. If you're intrinsically concerned about Ukraine and its place in what he sees as the Russian world, then he gave you that reason also, right? Another thing he does with these speeches is to try to confuse us, right? I think it's a good way of making it very difficult for Western policymakers in particular to have any sense of what he's trying to achieve. It makes it difficult for us to, as analysts and even academics, to know what he's trying to achieve. Because is he, as your reporter was telling us, disrupting Ukrainian energy supplies because he's concerned about LGBT rights, or is he concerned about Russian ability to continue to exist in the world? It makes it very difficult for planners to plan. But he's also giving himself, and this is really the third thing, a lot of room for maneuver. At some point, he will have to decide, when to declare victory in this war, in a war that he's not really winning, and try to explain it to his population. He's giving himself lots of different ways with which he can maneuver through those obstacles as well. But again, the one thing this speech is not designed to do is to give us any clarity at all about what this is all about.
Yeah, well, adding to that confusion, help us understand this, Sam. Putin said the West is inciting war in Ukraine, destabilising the world food and energy markets and organising provocations around Taiwan, while then going on to say there's no unity in the West, and then Russia is not an enemy of the West. What does he think of the West, then?
Well, I think that he's had a failure of analysis on the West from the very beginning of this war. In fact, from the beginning of his intervention in Ukraine back in 2014, we go to the annexation of Crimea. He did not expect sanctions to last very long. He did not expect them to be very robust, and he expected that he would be able to split the West with this war as well, in part by ramping up energy pressure and financial and economic pressure on Europe, by trying to mobilize maybe some of his allies around the world, particularly in parts of Europe where he has had them. You think about people like Silvio Berlusconi in Italy, and none of this has really come to anything in particular. And so he does, I think, continually try to look for ways to insert himself, to hive off things. I think it's why we see this rhetoric that really does go in multiple directions at the same time, because he has to be experimental. He doesn't really know what's going to work. Most of the things that he thought were going to work haven't paid off.
So scattering himself over a wide area by the sounds of things. He seemed also, though, to dial down on some of the nuclear sabre-rattling of recent days, accusing the former British Prime Minister Liz Truss of being, quote, a bit out of it when she made comments about the use of nuclear weapons. Do you think he's stepping back from the brink here?
It's hard to say. I think we can expect this rhetoric around nuclear weapons to continue to be very difficult to interpret. And again, I think that is the purpose of it. He wants certainly Western military planners and societies, frankly, to be very nervous about what might come and to make it difficult for us to make decisions about how Western governments and societies might continue to support Ukraine. He wants people to be nervous, but equally, he doesn't want to galvanize the Western world and the international community more broadly, including the Indians, right, who have expressed concern about where this war is going. He doesn't want to galvanize people into action against him. So he wants to both sound kind of threatening, but not too belligerent at the same time. It's a very difficult line to walk.
Very difficult line indeed. Sam Greene, Professor at the King's College London Russia Institute and Director of Democratic Resilience at the Centre for European Policy Analysis. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.